All right, so I'm getting ready to epoxy my garage floor. I'm going to show you the kit that I'm going to use. You've probably seen these before if you've been inside of a Home Depot or a Lowe's, and you've probably had the experience where you put this stuff down and it looks great after you put it down and then it peels right back up. I've tried to follow the instructions. They recommend you got to etch the concrete, which is basically to scuff it up so that the epoxy will have some place to stick. Well, they have this product here called Clean and Etch for Concrete, and this is what I used the last time that I painted my garage floor, and it looked fantastic until the epoxy started peeling up. So I'm doing something a little bit different this time. I did try this again, and it did clean the floor. It looks better, and I'm going to show that in just a moment. But we're going a step further this time, so I'm going to show you that. And hopefully it turns out better this time. I have no idea. I'll do a follow-up video to this one 6 or 7 months down the road, and you can see what it looks like. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so here's the garage floor, and it's nice and clean. It may not look that way on the video, but gonna have to take my word for it that it does look a lot better than it did before I cleaned it. So the next thing that I'm gonna do, I rented this machine. It's basically a buffing machine, but there's a special pad that you can get. And this is basically a floor, it's called a floor prep pad, and it's made specifically for this type of application. These are diamond studded little blades here, and it's basically going to spin around and rough up the concrete and give you a better surface for the epoxy to adhere to. And that's what I'm hoping is going to make the difference with this application. All right, so let's get into it. Once you have the pad attached to the bottom of the buffing machine, you're ready to get started. Now, as you can see here, I started on dry concrete. I went back and forth over each line twice. Now, you have the option of hosing the concrete down with water and sanding wet concrete. The advantage of sanding wet concrete is that you have much better control of the dust. Now, in addition to going in the direction that you see here, I also turned 90 degrees and sanded again to make sure that I covered the entire floor so that I have a nice, good, smooth surface for the epoxy to adhere to. Now, we'll find out in about 6 months whether or not this made a difference. Right now, I'm feeling pretty good about what we did, and at the end of this video, you'll get an opportunity to see the finished product. Once I finished sanding the concrete, I used my pressure washer to remove all of the dust, because you do not want any of this dust between your new epoxy coating and the concrete. You want a nice, clean, dry surface. So it's been 24 hours. The concrete is dry after being etched and pressure washed and thoroughly cleaned. And now we are ready to apply the epoxy. And as you can see, it's very clean. Now, when you touch the surface of this concrete, it has the feeling of a very fine sandpaper. And I think this is going to do a very good job of allowing the epoxy to adhere to the concrete. Is it going to work? I don't know. Like and subscribe to this channel, and you will find out in about 6 months how good this turned out. This is Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, and I am out.